All right, so this is 8.2, lesson 8.2 for math, and we are going to be talking about nets, which are like not fishing nets, but taking a three-dimensional shape and breaking it apart into its two-dimensional faces, and then finding the surface area of those faces. So you'll definitely need to know your formulas for area. So I'm going to review those with you, but let's go ahead and go to these example pages, and then we'll talk about what formulas we'll need to use. So here we have what's called a net, which is over here. So here's the three-dimensional shape, which would be a rectangular prism. And then imagine that we cut along the edges and opened it up, and now you have what's called a net. So these flat surfaces, if we were folding back together, they'd turn back into a rectangular prism. So think of a tissue box, but without the hole for the tissues. Okay, so now we've got these, and they're color coded to show you which shapes are identical. So like this rectangle would be the same area as this rectangle. They're worth the same. Same with this blue side and this blue side, and the front and the back. The green ones are going to be worth the same as well. So this is kind of easy because they're all the same, similar shapes. They're all rectangles, so we can use the same formula for each one. Now remember that the formula for a rectangle or a square is length times width. Okay, so length times width to find the area of these shapes. So now we're going to go to the measurements that they give us. So if you look at this, they show us that this height is 3 inches, the length is 7, and the width or the depth is 4. So we're going to apply these amounts to our net. And so the 7 represents this length, this length, this length, this length, all the way down. These are all going to be 7. And this is going to be 4, and this matching one is going to be 4, as well as this side's going to be 4. Okay? Because if you were to put these back together, this edge and this edge would match up, right? So this would be 4 and this would be 4. This is also 7 and this is also 3. So we've got 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. This down here's got to be 4 as well, because this is 4. So this has to be 4 as well. Okay, so now we're going to find the area of each of these rectangles. So let's start with this red rectangle on the top. We do length times width, so 7 times 4 is 28. We know that there's going to be 2 of these, right? 2 28s. So if you look at what they did here, the top is going to be 28 and the bottom is also 28. Okay, then we can go to the green, which is the back, the front, and the back. So this rectangle in the middle, we don't know exactly just by looking at it. We don't have these sides labeled. So what we need to do is look at the sides that are nearby it that are going to be worth the same. So I know that this is 7 because it goes from this edge to this edge. And if I go to my green rectangle, I see that it's the same distance for the edge of this rectangle. So it's also going to be 7 on this side. And then 7 times what? Well, 7 times whatever this is. And I know that if I go all the way down here, I see that it's 3. So 7 times 3 is 21. So this green rectangle is 21 and this green is 21 as well. So now I have 2 21s. And then we can go to our sides, the blues. So it's already labeled for us that this is 4, but we need to know what this is, right? So I can go all the way down again and see that it's 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. And I have an identical rectangle here with another 12. Now what you have to do is add them all together. And if you have a calculator, that will probably be helpful. So I add 28 plus 28 plus 21 plus 21 plus 12 plus 12. And I get 122 square inches. Now remember, it's inches squared or square inches because we're finding the area. Whenever you find the area, you have to find it in square units. Okay, so that one was fairly simple because it was rectangles. Let's go to one that's a bit trickier with triangles. Okay, so on this triangular prism, we've got, when we unfold it, we see that we have these green triangles, the front and back are going to be same. But the bottom, this side and this side are all going to be different, because if you look at the triangle, each length of the triangle, these are all different, which means these rectangles are all going to be different. Okay, so now let's go to an example. So let's look at this shape over here. What you could do is you could just in your head, say, okay, this is going to be 3 times whatever this is, 8, or not 3, I'm sorry, 13 times 8. And this is going to be 5 times 8 down here, and then this is going to be 12 times 8, and then I'm going to have to add those together, 12 times 5 as well. But really, to know exactly how many shapes you're dealing with, it's really helpful to look at the net, and then you can figure out exactly how many shapes and how many different areas you have to find. So if I first start with my triangles, I know that the area for a triangle is half the base times height. Now, instead of just cutting it in half, we know that we're going to have double triangles, right? So we could just do base times height on this, and that would count from both triangles instead of cutting it in half. But let's just do it normally so that we know exactly how to do it and not do any shortcuts exactly yet. So let me do my whiteboard, and I'll show you how to do example 2. So you have this net, okay, and my drawings are really not very good. I wish I could draw on the other screen, but I don't think I can. So then I've got 13, oh, and this is a triangle here. And this is another triangle here. Okay, so 13 there, this is 12, this is 13, this is 5, which means that also has to be 5. This is 8, and then I know this down here is going to be 12, this is also going to be 13, this is also going to be 5, this is 8. I'm just filling all these in so I know what they are. 8, 8, 13. Okay, now I have all my lengths labeled so I can figure this out. So for these rectangle or these triangles, remember the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Okay, so I'm going to do 5 times 13 divided by 2, and I would highly recommend using a calculator for all of this. Okay, so that's going to give me 32.5. Oh, what did I do? Oh, you know what? Darn it. Okay, the height. This is where I messed up. Okay, so the height, and this is really good to note because this could be super easy to mess up. So when you look at this triangle, remember to note where the right angles are, okay? Because the height of the triangle is actually 12, not 13, because 12 is the perpendicular to this base of 5. So it's actually going to be 5 times 12, 5 times 12, and 5 times 12 divided by 2, okay? So 5 times 12 is 12's the height, not 13. That's going to be 60 divided by 2 is going to be 30. Okay, so the height was 12 on this triangle, not 13. That's called the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is always the longest side. Anyway, so this is going to be 30 in here and 30 in here. So what I like to do is write the areas inside each shape when I'm done, so I know that I've done it, and I circle them. Okay, so for this rectangle in the middle, I'm going to do 12 times 8, right? 12 times 8, 12 times 8, and 96, so I know that's going to be 96. And then this one over here is going to be 5 times 8, which is 40. And then 8 times 13. 8 times 13. So I'm going to do, why is my brain not working today? 24, 104. Okay. So 104 in that one. Okay, so now I have to add all of them together. 104 plus 40 plus 96 plus 30 plus another 30. And then I get a total of 300. And if I go back to my book, I see that it's centimeters and square centimeters. So 300 centimeters squared. All right. Okay. So yeah, this is going to be a little challenging, I think, but you guys could definitely do it. The key is to remember how many, oops, lights went off, how many faces, the lights are off. Okay, that's fine. How many faces there are, and then figure out what that's going to look like. Okay, so let me do one of the problems on the homework. So this is number 3. It says draw a two-dimensional representation of the prism, then find the area of the entire surface of the prism. So for number 3, the shape is a, let me just show it to you real quick. Okay, so it looks like this. So now you're going to draw the net of the shape, the prism, and then we have to find the area of all the different faces. Okay, so let's go back to my whiteboard. Okay, so I'm going to take that shape and I'm going to start with the front face, and then I know I'm going to have another one there, another one there, another one there. Remember, rectangular prisms always have to have 6 different faces. Ah. Okay. And then, okay. So this one and this one are gonna match. These are gonna match, and these are gonna match. I don't think I have a way to color code stuff on here. Okay, but I am gonna label my, this is number 3 on page 364. Okay, so I am gonna label all the sides that I know so that I can make it easier on myself. So 5 and 5, this is 3. These are all gonna be 5s. 3, 3, 3, and then I need to know what this is. It's just 4. So 4, 4, 4, right? Because these two have to be the same. 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4. Okay, so now I'm to figure out, oh wait, this is actually 3. I'm sorry. This actually, okay, so if you look at this as your front face, this is the back face, it's going to be identical to this one. So this is going to be 3 as well. Because it would actually, this part would actually touch over here if we were to put it back together. Okay, so now 5 times 3 is 15. And that one's going to match with this one, right? So there's 2 15s there. So I've got my areas for these. And I could do these side pieces, which is 3 times 4. That's going to be a 12. This one is also going to be 12, 3 times 4, right? They're identical. So it's pretty easy to do that. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, so now all I have to do is add these all up. So 20 plus another 20 plus 15 plus another 15 plus 12 plus another 12. And then I'm gonna get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 4, 94. And it doesn't have any specific units, so we just put units squared or square units. Okay. Hopefully, I know, just attempt these if you're having trouble. I just want to expose you to some of this stuff. So if it's feeling really overwhelming on how to do it, try not to stress out, just attempt it. Just check something super quick. Okay. Okay. I think that's going to be it for today on this. And like I said, if you just attempt it and do your best and check your answers in the back, try again if you need to. All right.